Let's start by considering what happens when we titrate, let's just say a strong acid with a strong base. We could definitely be doing the opposite case, titrating a strong base with a strong acid. Now we know pretty much how that's going to look. Let me go ahead and give us a specific example to talk through, just to refine our thinking a little. Suppose we take 10 milliliters of a strong acid, and let's lock its concentration for the moment to be 1 molar. Let's keep our math simple by saying that our strong base, sodium hydroxide, is also at 1 molar. So we see immediately, just looking at that, okay, if I add 10 milliliters of my sodium hydroxide to this acid, it'll totally neutralize because they're the same concentration. And that's exactly the case. Now when we have totally neutral solutions, 4, 6, 8, we said 10 milliliters. If we have a totally neutral solution, that'll be a pH of 7. 2, 4, 6. Let's call that pH 7. There we are. There we are. So our pH of 7. We know exactly what that one's going to look like. What happens before that? Well, let's go ahead and consider what happened when we didn't add any NaOH at all. Let's just start with our initial volume. So we have our 10 milliliters. We have our 1 molar concentration. We set up our definition of pH. Well, it's a strong acid, so it's totally dissolved and dissociated. We get 1 molar of H plus ion, so it'll be negative log of 1 molar, so we'd have a pH of 0. Okay, then we start adding in some NaOH. Let's just go ahead and say that we've added in, let's keep things simple. Let's say we've added 5 milliliters. All right, well, when we add 5 milliliters, we know exactly how to solve that. We say, all right, I have 5 milliliters of this concentration. That tells me how many moles of NaOH are present. I then react it, and I say, okay, I've used up half of the molarity, half of the moles that are there. So I'm going to have a grand total of, let's figure out our number of moles. So we said 5 milliliters. I'm not going to worry about sig figs for the moment. We're going to have 0.005 moles of OH minus. We're down here, we're going to have 0.010 moles of H plus. We know these immediately react. So what do we end up with? 0.005 moles of H plus. Okay, well that's great. Now I go ahead and I find out my concentration that I presently have. I said this is the number of moles I've got. Let's go ahead and put that back into my volume. We remember, oh wait, we had 10 milliliters, but now we have 5 more milliliters of water sitting around down here in the beaker. So now we're at a total of 15 milliliters. So now we're going to go over 0.015 liters, and that's going to spit out our concentration of H plus. That's just going to be 5 over 15. So we end up getting our concentration to be 0.33 molar. Okay, now we go ahead and we put that into our Henderson-Hasselbalch, into our pH definition. So we go ahead and we hit the log button. Then we take the negative sign of that, and there we are. We have 0.48 pH. So we're here. We've increased our pH to about that level. It hasn't changed very much, and that's exactly what we kind of expected. And in fact, as we get closer and closer, all we're going to do is we're going to keep on handling that dilution. We're going to see our pH suddenly start to rise right as we get to that equivalence point, and it's going to jump right up. We know exactly how to calculate all this. It's just going to be applying some sort of a dilution factor, and we're going to be accounting for how much of it is reacted away. When you look at the big hairy equation in our text, you'll see that they actually show that in sort of a formula format, where they say fraction of OH minus remaining or H plus remaining. Then you've got your initial concentration. Then you've got your dilution factor. But we're just doing simple stoichiometry problems and simple reactions from Chem 1. So I don't see a need for us to be memorizing an equation like that, and I don't think it even gives us much of a shortcut. So I say just go for the calculation. It keeps us mindful about what we're doing. So we've already identified that there's three regimes here. There's what's happening before equivalence, what's happening at equivalence. Now what happens after the equivalence point? Well, we're going to have strong base that we're adding, and it's going to be dilute. We'd have to calculate a couple of spots along here in order to get this to actually plot out, but just keep in mind, from this moment forward, every milliliter of base that we add is going to be a new piece. So really, at 12 milliliters, we can just say we are now 2 mils past equivalence. So now we say, all right, 2 milliliters times my concentration of the NaOH. I can't write today. Here we are. NaOH gets me, well, let's just keep this simple, 2 millimolar 2 millimoles NaOH. Now I just say, great, that's inside of a total of 12 milliliters of volume, and I would go ahead and calculate my concentration of OH minus, and then I calculate POH and I calculate pH. The book will give you another expression for what's happening after you get to the equivalence volume. And it's going to look similar to the first one, but it's mostly just going to use a dilution factor. That dilution factor is going to look a little bit different than the first one did. Well, again, I don't see a need for us to memorize all these. I say just do the calculation. You've been doing it for long enough that it's not a big deal. But those are the short versions of each of these three regimes in a strong acid or base titration with another strong.